So, with the release of set 13, we have the Ultimate Strides. And with the Ultimate Strides, it's a new game mechanic, so a new episode of Crazy Game Change.
Crushing the meta.
Big welcome to our channel. My name is D-Boy. I'm here with Glacian.
Hey guys.
And we're gonna talk about the Ultimate Strides, what they do, how they work, and what we think about them. So first of all, the set 13 will be released, and we will get these two strides, the one from the Water Clans and the one from the Dragon Empire. And today we're going to talk about the game mechanic. For all the clans is the same. So if you go into set 13, you click on the Ultimate Stride right here, not this one, this is the set. You click on this one right here, you will get this, and this will explain how the Ultimate Strides work, but we will explain it as simple as we can with the text that we have right here. After that, we will go into the skill and we will tell you what we think about these cards. In short, if you have any other questions, you could always ask us, put a comment, or on Facebook you could also ask us directly. We will answer you as fast as we can. So the Ultimate Strides, you release them by having GB3, so 3 face-up cards in your G-Zone. And then when this card goes back to your G-Zone by any kind of skill, so if by skill or at the end of your turn or any way that this card goes back to your G-Zone, you will lose your whole G-Zone. So your G-Zone would be removed from play, face down cards, face up cards, all your G-Zone. The cost that you pay to stride into this card is not any 3 or grade 3 or stride folder or grade 2 and grade 1. No, it has to be the same card as you have as your Vanguard. So it's a kind of a Persona Blast, which is very nice, which it makes harder for some clans to go into it. But yeah, that's actually it for the game mechanic of the Ultimate Strides. If you want more explanation, you could go into this. This will explain a lot of things, like the skill that you lose your GB. So let's say when you stride into this card and you could not finish your opponent off, then the card will go back to your G-Zone. You will lose your whole G-Zone, including the card itself. So your whole G-Zone would be removed, and then your G-Zone will become 0. So your Generation Break will become 0. So you can't use any Generation Break skills. Also, something that's very important about this card is, it said discard a card the same card name as your Vanguard, which means that if you are in Legion, you could discard the Legion Mate or the Legion Leader to be able to stride into this card, which is nice because even losing, not being able to finish your opponent off that turn, you would still be able to use your Legion stuff because most Legion decks are not GB1 restricted, so that's nice. So it does bring back Legions and limit breaks, so that's nice. And then we go into the skill. Before I let Glacian explain the skill, we'll see the elements from the 3 clans, which are
Bermuda, Triangle, Aquaforce, and Grand Blue.
Yep.
Well then, let me take a look with you guys at the skill. This skill is an auto skill, and it'll cost 2 counterblast when this unit is placed on the Vanguard circle. You may pay the cost, and if you do, choose up to 5 cards in total from your hand and drop zone, and call them to separate rearguard circles. Until the end of the turn, they get 5000 power and the auto skill on rearguard circle. At the end of battle that this unit attacked, choose one of your other rearguards, and you may exchange position with this unit. Now this last bit of the skill is mostly an Aquaforce thing to maneuver and tactically replace your units, but it could also benefit the other 2 clans. Now, when we take a look at this summoning conditions, it's hand or drop zone. Well, drop zone is obviously a Grand Blue thing, and calling from the hand does kind of give a nudge to Bermuda Triangle, but just like when you look at the art of the card, Bermuda Triangle is the least recognizable in this card. Still, it's a very good stride card, but it has its downsides, and I think we're going to discuss those now a little bit, right, D-Boy?
Yes, so something very important about this card is the cost. It's a counterblast 2. For clans like Grand Blue, this is a lot, but for clans like Aquaforce, they do not really use their counterblast a lot in the normal Tavas deck. or in the most usable decks, something that is very beneficial for Aquaforce is the summoning. Aquaforce does not really summon or call, or superior call to be exact. And this is something that's very important, because losing their best grade 2s, grade 3s, or any units to the drop zone is not bad anymore, or it is not that bad anymore, because you can still go into this card and call them all back to the field and give them power, and they could also exchange positions. So we can see that in the anime, the one who used this is an Aquaforce player, so this card also benefits Aquaforce the most. We do not say that the card is not good in Bermuda or in Grand Blue, but Glacian told me something, and that's it. That is this card a finisher, or is it?
It's more like a last resort kind of thing. When you look clearly at the card, it's inferior to, say, a GB8 or even some of the latest strides that do a lot more. But the thing is, it has a huge boost of power, and it kind of sacrifices everything. In the metagame we kind of live in right now, it's more of a last resort card. So, say I look at my opponent and I know it. I know I'm either gonna kill him this turn or I'm dead anyway. That's a perfect moment to call one of these strides, because they take a lot, but they also give a lot. But they're just not good if you still have fight left in you. So that's what I see them as used as like a last answer, a last resort to jump back to.
Yeah, this is something that is very clear, that by using this card and do not finish your opponent off, you will get punished, which is a kind of a final turn, which I love in this game. When you're able to go into final turn, you gamble everything on this card. And when we see more of these, because this is only the first one, because the one from the Dragon Empire is not yet revealed when we are making this video. So as we see the elements back, we see that it's more usable in one clan than other, but that's just normal, because you have 3 different clans, and it's normal that one clan will benefit more than other. It's also, this card is a GB3, so do not compare it into a GB8. It's just a GB3, but it has the punishment that a GB3 doesn't have. So at the game meta right now, as Galatian said, sometimes you finish your opponent off as a first stride, but mostly as your second or third stride, and that's when this card will see plays. Like when your opponent attacks you and you don't really have a lot of resources left, you can stride, but just that's the last thing that you can do. You don't really have a lot in hand, you can't really call a lot, and that's when this card comes through. It calls you a whole field from drop zone or hand, so you could go all out. You give power, you switch, you get more attacks. But if you have fight left in you, as Glacian said, you have a lot of different strides that you could use. Like, you compare this card to a Dirty Piccolo from Spike Brothers, or a Gouch from Grand Blue. They also call on whole field, and you don't get punished. But by doing so, if you have like G-Guardians or heal triggers left in hand, if you have Perfect Guards left in hand, then there is really no reason to go into this card. Sometimes maybe if you gamble everything and you think, well, I will finish them anyway, then you could go into him. But if you do not, if they get a Miracle Heal or 2, then you're finished. Because definitely in a normal stride deck, your GB1 skill will not be activated. Your whole GB will be gone. You can't stride. So your grade 2 lineup, your grade 1 lineup, your grade 3 lineup, everything that has GB, your Vanguard itself, it would lose the GB2 skill. So mostly you can't do a lot in your turn. So yeah, that's it for our thoughts on these strides or this game mechanic. Tell us what you think about them, and I will be very happy to see the difference between these, or this card and the others. Like, you have the one from the Dark Zone, which has Gear Chronicles, Spike Brothers, we have Pale Moon, and we have Dark Regulars. And to be able to mix Dark Regulars with something like a Gear Chronicle
It's gonna be weird to see.
Yeah, it's gonna be very weird. But talking about Dragon Empire, we have also Nobitama and Kagero, which are very different. Going into the United Sanctuary.
That will be something to see. My first thoughts about that. It's probably going to be really Paladin related, seeing as the 3 Paladin clans kinda have the same ID behind them, and the other 3 are just completely different. It will be really hard, so I expect the Paladin one to do superior calling from the deck in some way.
Yes, we think that's more superior call, give power, and maybe check the top cards to be able to stack them. But if it would be a skill like draw, that would be crazy because you don't need to draw if you finish your opponent anyway. So it would be more of checking the top cards than drawing the cards. And then if you go into like Lin Joker, Dimensional Police kind of stuff, that would be a very, 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 very weird stride. So yeah, we are very happy to see a new game mechanic. I think that this game mechanic is very, very nice. It also, it's different. So let's say when you see these cards, you would think some decks will just remove the GB8 from their deck because there is really no reason to have that if you go into him. So yeah, it's very nice to see this, and I'm very happy with this. So thanks Bushi, and thank you guys for watching. Tell us what you think about them. Until next time.
See you guys later.